because I got my hands on some Gunpla. I didn't go to like a hobby store or anything. Um, I didn't do any of that. I didn't get my hands on. I didn't go to a hobby store, but the flea market that I usually go to every year. It happens 3 times a year. Happens happened this past weekend. Well, it was going on this Sunday as well, but I went yesterday on Saturday. It was really crummy, but I went and went through it all, and I got my hands on some Gunpla. The one we're going to be building today is the high grade Banshee Unicorn. We're going to be building this. I only cut one part out because a long time ago, the nippers that I have used on my other builds, except for, yeah, that I've used, I did get this GTO RX78-2 last flea market in May, and I had to use fingernail clippers. No, I didn't use fingernail clippers. I used just a knife to cut it out, but I got my hands on these just like plastic nippers from Harbor Freight. I got the cheap, I can't remember what the brand was. The middle one is Doyle. This one I think is, I can't remember. It's the super cheap one. These were like $4. They're not like hobby nippers, and they're not like God hand nippers. They're just like little clipper, like for clipping like zip ties and whatnot. And I also got the Icon ones. These ones are way bigger, way beefier. So I'll be using these two in conjunction with each other today. The knife I'm going to be using, because the scalpel that I have used in the Wing Zero EW, that super old video that I made building that kit, I somehow lost that scalpel. It's running around somewhere out in the floor. So I'm gonna be using this teeny tiny little, it kind of is like a scalpel. This is a piece of canister Damascus I have made and just put this super simple little handle on it. It is a single beveled knife, so it should work pretty good for cutting this soft plastic. Gonna move this out of the way because I need to access the drawer in front of it. And I'll be using the nail file that I use all the time for this kind of stuff. But yeah, gonna be building the Banshee Gundam. I do want to show you what else I bought. Before I show you the first thing, I got this. It is, I don't know the history behind this toy, this action figure, if you will. It's not really a toy, but it is a non-transforming, highly articulated, Great X Kaiser, made by these people, I think. I don't necessarily know the history behind it. I have not had a ton of time to play with it, so I will spend some time with this and play around with it. But the one kit I really want to build, but I don't know if I want to because it's sealed, is this. It is the Unicorn Gundam. It is not the destroy mode, obviously, if I look at the picture, but it is from the Gundam base, and it has this like card in it and everything, and it's completely sealed. And I don't know if I want to open this one, because given where it came from the Gundam base, given what kind of kit it is, because it is the metallic gloss version, so I really don't know if I want to open it. But might be a hot take. Probably aren't very many people that will agree with me, but I think the Unicorn Gundam, the like Unicorn mode, is much cooler than the Destroy mode and the Banshee. Banshee Unicorn, like untransformed, like the Unicorn version, not the Destroy version, kind of cool, but regular Unicorn will always be the best version of the best version. If I ever get my hands on the master grade, and especially the perfect grade, it will always be in Unicorn mode. It will probably never be in Destroy mode, because Unicorn mode is better. But that's enough talking. I'm gonna flip the camera around so we can start building this guy. So gonna flip the camera around. So now I might play with some camera angles and whatnot to figure out what I necessarily want to do with showing this guy off. But we're just going to open it up. So I don't know how long this is going to take. So you can see I only opened these two runners to cut out the little like magazine for the beam rifle. But that's the only reason was just to test out how well these are going to cut, and obviously they're probably nothing compared to like a God Hand or something. But I just purely wanted to, I was near a Harbor Freight yesterday, and I just bought them so I could be able to live stream myself building this kit here today. That's the only reason why I got these, but I think later on throughout the month or throughout the year I will get my hands on some God Hand nippers, just to actually invest in a good pair of nippers, because I ended up breaking my old pair of nippers a couple years ago, and I have been without them ever since. I've just had to make do, and hopefully someday I will find that scalpel again, because I love using that scalpel on kits, because it's just a good asset to have. But that GTO Gundam I built, I did not use the instructions. I only used the instructions for like 2 aspects of it. Other than that, it was all just freestyle, if you will, just free building. And that took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe 3 if I'm just overly just misremembering it. So this kit, having about double the runners, should take me about 2 hours, maybe a little bit quicker. But yeah, so here is the manual. So I'm just going to open up to this page. Well, it's not going to show me anything. So there. Now, I really don't like these instructions. I just don't like them. They're not amazing the way they do it. I'm gonna put this on my lap and do it like this. So I think it wants me to build the torso first. So I apologize if I end up, not talking a lot, because if you've seen any of the other live streams, so those are 2 C runners, or if you've watched the aforementioned just regular video of me building the Gundam Wing E0 Zero EW, you will definitely know. I don't know. I'm just very slow at this, and I need to concentrate because I build things backwards and wrong all the time. So this, I think we are starting with the torso, and we need E. There's E. So I have not watched, since we're talking about Gundam Unicorn, I have not watched the anime. I've thought about watching it, but I just have not thought about it. I would really like to, because I think it's one of the better ones, one of the better anime in the, well, they're all pretty good to my knowledge, but it's one of the most acclaimed, if you will, of the Gundam series. So I definitely want to watch it, and it has some of the best mobile suits in it. Like, I love the Angsha and the Ashimir. I'm pretty sure that those mobile suits are from that anime, from Gundam Unicorn. I might be wrong, I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that that's where they're from. I'll pull this back so you guys can actually see me put the pieces on the table. But definitely I will end up someday watching the anime. I just haven't. I just haven't yet. Um, because I really do um, have a lot of anime I would really like to watch. Right now, I have finished Cowboy Bebop between last week's stream and this week's stream. Um, I I really love Cowboy Bebop. I absolutely love it. It's not the kind of show that's trying to necessarily like it doesn't give off things like Attack on Titan. It's not trying to really necessarily revolutionize storytelling, if you will. Um, but it's just a really nice sort of grounded within the means of like some of like within like anime and storytelling is just a good grounded story, um, to me at least, and I just absolutely love it. I love the characters. Um, Obviously, Attack on Titan. They have really well written characters, but um, here I'll move the camera so you guys can actually see me building it. Flip that around. There. I'm building it in my lap, so there you'll be able to see me actually building it and whatnot now. Um, but Attack on Titan is obviously has really great characters, but it's more of a plot driven story. It's not a character driven story, and I really like character driven stories. Just given the way they work, given um, how developed the characters are, um, and you're able to really relate to those characters. There's a lot more characters to be interested into, and I'm not saying by any means that Attack on Titan doesn't have any of that, but all the characters exist for the story and to move the plot forward. Um, Not super necessarily to be just characters. They're there to move the plot forward, not necessarily just to be there. Um, Obviously, my perspective on that probably doesn't help because the Transformers is so heavy on all that that if a character isn't there to sell a toy, then there's not really a reason for them to be in a piece of media. Obviously, it's not because there's a vast majority of uh, characters that are in no media, um, but are still uh, but still sell a ton of toys. Um, but the majority of the time, the toys that sell the most are the characters that are in media. Um, but maybe that's just my prior experience, if you will, with the Transformers. Um, yeah, try using the big icon nippers. Maybe that's just my outlook, but nevertheless, I like Cowboy Bebop for that reason. I liked that it really didn't have a super overarching story. It does have somewhat of an overarching story. I kind of associate it with Jay Decker is that it kind of does have an overarching story, but this overarching story really is only told in certain moments in the show. It's not a very uh, wide scoped story that is told across um, every episode and in that sort of aspect. It's not told like that. Um, and obviously, shows like that are good. Attack on Titan is probably the best example. Star Wars is another good example of every single piece of the story just perfectly coming together, um, perfectly coming together to form an excellent piece of media that is well written, that has very nicely written characters, a beautiful, amazing, large scoped story. Um, but I think I said it in my last stream a week ago, is that I just personally really like and gravitate towards shows that are just simple, basic, and just fun. Um, that like yes, they have a story, they have an overarching like plot and idea, um, but it's just nice sometimes to have a story that um, that's just character driven and that each episode is just a fun little adventure that the characters go on and that it's not trying to necessarily um challenge anything to become a bigger story or anything. um and that's definitely um what shows like Attack on Titan are there shows that are just not trying to like break records, but make a very elaborate and deep and thoughtful story um, about everything. Um, and like I said, when they're done very well, like Star Wars, Attack on Titan, Halo to a certain extent, um, typically I would say Evangelion. Um, the original anime, at least in my opinion, I didn't watch End of Eva. I'm pretty sure I said that last time. Um, but Evangelion to a certain extent, but mostly Attack on Titan and Star Wars do a very good job at that level of storytelling. Um, but sometimes it's just good, in my opinion, to just watch something, you know, stupid and small and fun. Not every show that you watch has to be some big elaborate story, unless that's something that you really really like. Um, I personally, they're good to follow up something that's very basic, very simple. I think that's how I kind of want to go about watching, getting into more of these shows. Um, is that's kind of how I want to go about doing it. Um, because just so things don't get old and sort of stale, if you will. Um, Keeping it fresh, watching, a short, simple anime like the one that I'm watching right now, really doesn't change it. But I'm watching a zoo manga. It's like Daihyo. Um, it's just like a slice of life comedy. I really love it. Um, like it's just this group of schoolgirls that just go throughout their daily lives, and it's really really funny. I really like the characters, love how they're written. um, they're just a ton of fun in my opinion. Watching them walk through their daily lives, um, and just do weird and wacky things in it. I think it's just a ton of fun to watch shows like that, um, and not just everything be like ultra serious, ultra storytelling, big elaborate story, um, that kind of stuff. Obviously, like I said, those stories are very well done, very well told, um, and everything, but that's not really necessarily what I want to watch all the time, especially after completely binge watching um, Attack on Titan. Um, sometimes it's just refreshing to watch something simple and dumb, kind of like Azumanga, Dio, or Dio, or whatever, and Cowboy Bebop, because they're just simple, fun little stories that, it doesn't help that they're both shows are like 25 episodes long, 25, 26 episodes long. Um, it's just that they're not trying to tell the most elaborate story. Obviously, they have little cues, little themes in the episodes and everything, but they're not trying to break the mold, if you will, tell the most elaborate story. and everything. And sometimes that's just good. That's just nice to watch a show or read a book or play a game where it's just that is just that one or those two or whatever, and not have to play or watch or read a million of them. It's just kind of refreshing sometimes to be able to do that. Um, but to each their own. That's just how I personally like to engage with media, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong if someone disagrees and likes something different. But I would definitely, I think this like weirdish like bluish black is really difficult to get the nub marks out of. I think I watched Mecha Gaiatsu. I don't know his name. The guy who does a ton of Gunpla videos on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I watched his video on this. He said that he does not recommend it because it has a lot of pieces, and it has this black material is just like it just loves to keep the nub marks unless it's like completely perfect, completely perfectly sanded. He said it was one of the kits that wasn't his favorite. I think Solidity, stuff like that. I can't quite remember. Um, I think I put this together wrong already. Yeah. Um, no. No, I didn't. Um, I completely forgot about that until I bought this. I just saw it on a table, and I was like, okay, there's a Gundam. And then I looked underneath of it, and I saw the unicorn one. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to buy both of them. And I did end up buying both of them, and now I have both of them. I think I put this. Yeah, I put this together upside down. So these need to go on the other side. There, that looks a bit more. Um, but I've just bought them anyways. The guy, this guy, the Banshee, he had 22 on, and he had 40 on the unicorn. This one, and he sold both of them to me for $40. So I took it. It was way better deal. Um, wasn't going to lose the opportunity to have two probably amazing kits. B1. So I just went ahead and bought them. But I do remember from that video, if I'm remembering it correctly, he did say that this bluish, black, navy color just loves to keep the nub marks. It doesn't, unless you take a ton of care with it, or do like the double nipper technique or whatever, and have some super sharp, like god hand nippers, then you're able to get it fairly good and clean and whatnot. But clearly, clearly, these nippers from Harbor Freight are obviously not designed to do this like the God hands, um, but like they're like I really messed that up. Really took a big chunk out of that. Um, so I think I'm just gonna build this because it'll take me forever. It's already taken me 25 minutes just to put this together, and there's a ton more pieces. So I think I'm just gonna nip these, as I know, like not giving off the best amount of quality and whatnot, but most of my kits um, are like this. The only ones that aren't like this are the like two that I've taken the time to put this much effort into, and the kits like the Real Grade RX-78-2 2.0, where it's just engineered so well where you can't hardly even get a visible nub mark. Um, like you guys, I'll try showing you, but you can see how my file is just so aggressive that it still just doesn't look great. So I'm at least gonna put it together. I might take this thing apart and fully sand it, or at least file it with this. But I'm at least gonna just nip everything apart, and then just put it together, um, and try to just at least get it together. Do at least that because there's still a ton more pieces left to put on this thing. So that's what I'm gonna do, and just keep moving instead of just getting stuck and spending a ton of time just doing this. Um, but now I can't remember what I was saying about shows I was watching. But I personally would recommend Cowboy Bebop to anyone. I think it's a really good show. Um, and I personally love 90s anime. Probably doesn't help. I watched, all the Transformers series, all of the all the Brave series that were mostly all from the 90s. There were a couple of the Transformers shows that were from the 80s. Well, they're all from the 80s, but like Victory is practically from the 90s. Um, but I just personally love that animation style. I love the 90s era of animation. I think as nice and polished as animation is now, I think it just lacks that pizzazz and almost passion. I know people that are slaving away making shows nowadays would probably be personally insulted if I said that to them, but just that different level of animation and detail that comes from those older anime um, is just incredible. And that's why I personally just absolutely love them. I would love to watch more 90s anime because just simply the mechanical details, the drawings, just the pure animation, obviously, of it all is just simply incredible in my opinion. And I just absolutely love the way everything is animated and done. Um, but personally, I would really like to watch more of those older shows um, because they give off um, that feeling, have that specific style to them and everything. But I don't know what my next anime is going to be after um, this. Azumanga, uh, Dio. I don't know what I necessarily want to watch after it. I'm just going to have to uh, think about it because I have a lot of ones I want to watch. But obviously, I can't watch them all. I really want to watch Code Geass because I've seen a lot of people um, rank it above Gurren Lagann when it comes to mecha anime. So I really want to see how that show is. I really want to watch kind of want to watch or want to experience because people love it so much. I'm trying to remember how you say it. Full Metal. Dang it, I can't fit. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There it is. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I want to watch that just because everyone has it in their top 5, their top 10, or whatever. Um, want to experience that. watch that show, see how truly good it is, or if it is that good. Um, really want to watch that. Um, so yeah, I have a lot of ones that I want to watch, um, to experience and see. Um, but I'm just gonna wait and see which one um, fully possesses me to watch. Um, so, huh, there. I think yeah, there. Then this goes over that. This is probably the backpack. I do not know what this is. Um, yeah, it is. Wait, yeah, it is. This is the backpack. Um, I did end up. I know I mentioned it. Um, my last live stream, I did pull the trigger and buy the Figma um, Captain Levi. Um, the person accepted an offer, so I got the entire thing. The He's sealed and everything. The guy said that he's authentic, so I got the whole thing sealed, authentic, everything for almost exactly $100. But unfortunately, the estimated shipping time is around, I think it said August 27th, so it won't be here for a little while now. I'm really excited. Um, I'm really excited for it because if it's gonna be an experience like the Soul of Chogokin Gurren Lagann, um, it'll just be amazing because I love that toy, um, and I've tried looking not super hard. I've tried looking for a Hanji, a Hanji Zoe figure. I just keep seeing the statues, and I hate statues. This is a big rant of mine. I absolutely hate statues. I don't like the 3-0 Transformer stuff. I don't like um, the entire world of anime statues and things like that. I just am not a fan. I have a huge disdain for Funko Pops. I don't know why. I just don't. Obviously, I know the little chibi Gunpla kits and figures are kind of in the same vein, but they're articulated at least. I just don't like statues. I'm just not a fan of statues. I think they're dumb, and especially for how much they cost. Um, I personally can't hardly justify spending that much money on figures, let alone things that don't even move. Um, and if any of you guys like statues, because my brother he has um some Funko Pops. If you guys like Funko Pops, if you guys like statues, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm not saying you're wasting your money. Um, I'm not saying that at all because, to be honest, I could be spending my money way better and way more responsibly than the way I spend it. Um, that's why I don't call out people who collect this, who collect that, as long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting someone else or kind of being a creep, within reason of certain things that you collect, as long as you're not doing stuff like that, collect whatever makes you happy. Um, that's not, yeah, I put that on wrong. Collect whatever makes you happy. And for the people that, talk down on people that collect or collect, different things or odd things, like Magic the Gathering, like those sort of card games, Warhammer. People pick on people like that all the time. Obviously, if you take it super seriously, um, you're one of those different kind of people. Um, that's a bit different, obviously. If you're a strange person and, you get super mad when you lose or something, or you're coming up with some weird, like Dungeons and Dragons, if you're coming up with some weird, wacky stories that, are uncomfortable to do or whatever, that's obviously where I personally draw the line. Um, kind of like I said, as long as you're not being weird about any of it, as long as you're not hurting anybody or like putting yourself in a like poor financial position, collect whatever makes you happy. This world, I'm not gonna say it's bad. It's just having to deal with mean people, bad coworkers, and then just the stresses of paying bills and stuff like that. Like I get it, it's fine to escape and to enjoy things. Um, I completely understand all that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I think the people that do make fun of people for enjoying things are, just as bad, just as mean as the people that, make you want to escape the world for uh long periods of time, and I personally don't like people like that, and I don't want to be that kind of person. Um, but obviously, like I said, within reason, if you're doing some weird stuff, uh, collect some odd things, do some odd things with said things that you buy or like or love, that's where I kind of draw the line. Like personally, one of the things that I'm not that I'm super kind of on the fence about, depends on the day almost, are cosplayers. Since we're talking about stuff like this, I have no problem with cosplayers. But the biggest thing to me that kind of gets under my skin are the people that do these sort of half baked ones. They're like, yeah, I can buy a Spider-Man, not jumpsuit, but Spider-Man thing on the interwebs and compete in a cosplay contest, or those like weird I'm trying to think, like latex, not latex, but if you're going online and you're buying it, and not like modifying it a ton, I'm not a fan of those people. Because when I see, like, there's this guy, he's on TikTok, he's making um a Cherno Alpha uh cosplay, and I think it's insane. I love the look of it. I think it looks incredible. Or like there's a couple of guys um on TikTok as well. They've done a Gurren Lagann cosplay. They've uh done King Keton, and then they've done Daiguren, like the actual ship with the legs. Like I love that. That's awesome. That's cool. It takes time. It takes um patience. It takes skill. It takes all those sort of things. Um and when people show up to a cosplay contest and they just bought a cosplay that was 3D printed, kind of takes the fun out of it, kind of takes the expertise, if you will, out of it. To me, if I was there and I put hours of my life into making something that was cool and then I cared about it, um, and then for someone to show up and, they didn't put near as much effort as I put in, kind of takes away some of that, fun and, effort, if you will. But that's just me. That's just my opinion once again, about all that. And I don't mean that people that do that style of cosplay and everything are weird or bad people. Just that's sort of just how I am as a person. That if you wanna go do something like that, put in some effort. Put in, enjoy the craft or the hobby or whatever it may be to the fullest extent. Don't limit yourself because you think you're not creative enough. Um, Part of getting into hobbies and things like that is just jumping in, just taking time and patience to learn it and to get good at it. Um, like I, I, I think I've thrown some hints out about it over this channel for a little while now, but I'm a blacksmith. I like making swords. I love making swords and knives um, when I'm not making YouTube videos and going to conventions, going to flea markets, looking for engaging with the Transformers and Transformers adjacent things like this. If I'm not engaging with that, I'm either working obviously, or I'm out working on a knife or a sword or an axe or a hammer or something. Um, and blacksmithing is a pursuit that takes a lot of skill and discipline. Um, I'm gonna skip the head. I'm not gonna work on the head. The head's gonna be last. Um, but it takes a lot of skill, a lot of discipline, a lot of technique, if you will. Especially, I'm just gonna put the backpack on now. Probably need to add more things to it, but maybe not. There's the torso and the backpack. See the 4 thrusters back there, the beam sabers right there. Um, but and some people struggle with it. Some people struggle with hammer control and things like that, and that's fine. Learning how to hammer precisely is kind of difficult. Um, if you haven't done it for a long time or just worked with your hands, a lot. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just continuing to pursue what you enjoy, what you love doing, and not letting anyone just tell you like, "Hey, you suck at that. Quit doing it." Like, no, I wanna keep doing this. I wanna keep pursuing it and getting better at it. And that's the attitude that you need to have when you're getting into new things, um, and not just be like, "Well, I'm not creative enough. I'm too much of this. I'm too much of that." No, don't have that attitude. And um, your attitude in a lot of this stuff in life, in your hobbies, in most things in general, dictate how people see you, dictate how successful you are. Um, and one of the best quotes, if you guys, so one of the things I love to do with my family, um, mainly my mom, is we watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay's cooking uh, TV shows like Kitchen Nightmares, Hell's Kitchen, and MasterChef has been one of the most recent ones. We absolutely love MasterChef. And in MasterChef season 5, it's not a spoiler. There's a guy. His name is Willie. And he's such a happy guy, and he says that his grandma says your attitude determines your altitude. And I definitely agree with that because it really does. Um, your attitude, and just to echo that, when I was going through a lot of my training for the National Guard, like basic training, AIT, advanced individual training for anyone who doesn't know or care to look it up themselves, they say you need to have 4 things, or do 4 things: show up at the right time, wear the right uniform, and the right place. And the fourth one is the right attitude. Um, and it's true, at least to me. Um, if you show up um, to wherever, at least in the context of the military, um, at least in the National Guard realm, which is probably a lot more lax than active duty Army and especially like the Marine Corps and the other places. But if you show up with the right attitude, it might even get you through through having being at the wrong time, wrong place with the wrong uniform. Sometimes, not always. Um, but your attitude really does a ton to help you out as a person and to be successful. Um, so that's why I'm, just talking, but the reason why it's so important to show up with the right attitude and um and I don't even mean like just being happy. Like having the right attitude doesn't mean being happy all the time. And it's kind of hard to be happy all the time. At least for me, not everything just makes me, joyous. Even the things I enjoy, like I'm not super um chipper and excitable with every toy that I review. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the right attitude, the right way of looking at and seeing things and the world and everything, and just not being, you know, a mean or bad person. Just it's kind of not hard to just show up with the right attitude at the right time, with the right place, and the right uniform. Um, but that's enough deep, deep philosophical type stuff. That's not really what I do, especially here on this channel. Um, take it from the guy that's building a robot, building a robot from a Japanese cartoon, basically. Um, but just for some food for thought to anyone who is watching or rewatching this, but just have a good attitude about things. Try to be the best person that you can be. I was saying that with a little bit of sarcasm, but honestly, it's true. Just be the best version of you that you can be, and just allow people to see that. Allow people to be like, that guy's a good person, or that girl, whoever. Um, and yeah, kind of just trailed off there, but um, don't really have much else to talk about. Um, I just thought of this. I did pre-order the new Age of the Primes Armada Jetfire. I pre-ordered it whenever the pre-orders opened, a couple months ago or whatever. Um, so I hope that will come here soon because I've seen a couple people getting theirs. Probably won't get mine if I am assuming anything, but it might show up. Um, but nevertheless, I did get it. I don't have the Commander class Optimus though, so unfortunately, it will end up being very similar to my actual Armada Jetfire, where I have him and not a Prime. Technically, I have a Prime, but not the right Prime. Um, and I don't know what to think about it. It's obviously been a couple of months since I looked at it because I just looked at it a little bit, but I knew that I really wanted it. Um, but I don't know. I know they knocked it out of the park with with the Commander class Optimus. I know they just slam dunked it on that toy. Um, Obviously, like I said, I don't own it, so I absolutely do not know. Um, but um, just looking at the Jetfire, it just looks like it's retreading the same ground as the original, which I'm fine with. I absolutely adore the original. It is easily one of my favorite toys ever. Um, I absolutely love the original toy. I would I want to say it's one of the best ever, but unfortunately it's not. Um, unfortunately, as much as I want to say that, but nevertheless, it's a amazing toy. If you guys can't get the new one, I would highly recommend at least tracking down the original because the original is a ton of fun by himself. I haven't messed with it a ton, but the Collectors Club Astro Train, it's also a ton of fun. Absolutely love that toy as well. Um, Obviously, it rides a lot of the hype of the original Jetfire, um, but nevertheless, I still adore the mold. I don't think they ever made another like remold or repaint of those toys. I really don't know of the Jetfire mold. I really don't. Um, but nevertheless, if you can get your hands on the original, I would highly recommend it. It's just an amazing, amazing toy. Probably a lot of people wouldn't agree with me on that, but I will probably live and die on that hill. That uh, oh, there's the little magazine. Can't lose that. Probably live and die on that hill. Um, but I'm fine if I do because I personally really, really love it. It really is just that good in my opinion. Um, but I really don't know about this new one. I just really don't. I think it's kind of skating by on the clout of the original, which to me that's kind of how a lot of these newer toys are kind of been going down. Um, and I'm not trying to take away from what Hasbro and Takara are doing. I'm not at all taking away from that. They're still making amazing toys. Um, that doesn't make sense. Um, check the picture here. I guess it is. I'm not at all taking away from what Hasbro and Takara are doing now. I still think this is an amazing time for the Transformers. I think it will continue to be an amazing time for the Transformers. Um, but to me, the biggest thing is I'm not necessarily getting into prices necessarily because prices are a huge thing right now with the Transformers. You know, when a deluxe is $30, that's awfully steep, at least in my opinion. When you can go on eBay, go to almost anywhere and still get a very solid old deluxe, old Voyager, old whatever. Um, for that same price for $30 you can get a lot of older toys for that price. Like I know the Voyager Power Glide that I just bought, I know I got mine for a really good deal at BotCon. um, I know all that. And I know he's not an amazing toy. He I'll be honest, he's not amazing. But nevertheless, he was $40, and comparing him to a modern Voyager, he's not even a Voyager, he's an Ultra class, which is yeah, they're bigger than a Voyager. um Nevertheless, um prices are a big thing nowadays. But to me, the biggest thing in my eyes that have kind of kept me away from buying new things um is just um I want variety again. Like I know we didn't have a ton of variety back in the War for Cybertron trilogy or even in Legacy. Like that was one of my biggest disappointments about Legacy was for, being a legacy trilogy all about revisiting characters across the entire universe of the Transformers, and they really didn't do a lot with it. It was just really disappointing in my opinion, um, because they could have made it easily. They could have made a legacy, something like G1. They could have made that toy line and go on for literally ever. Um, and obviously they kind of are, Age of the Primes and whatever the new line is being called, like Age of Evolution or whatever. I've been kind of out of the whole like big stuff, like that kind of stuff, the whole news. Obviously, it's still riding the same legacy type thing, with revisiting old characters, old toys and everything, and remaking them. Like, I love the Mega Xerox. I'll probably end up getting it sometime. Just at the time that the pre-orders were open, I really didn't want to spend $60. Plus, he was revealed at almost the exact same time as Jetfire, so I really didn't want to pre-order him at the exact same time, like just spending that amount of money all at once. I really kind of didn't want to do that, but nevertheless, beautiful. I love Mega Xerox. Mega Xerox wears the Armada Megatron mold the best. I don't care what anyone says, and I am a diehard Armada Galvatron fan. I love those colors, but and I almost bought an original Mega Xerox while I was at BotCon. There was one for $700, and I couldn't do that. That was a ton of money, but I almost did because Mega Xerox is just the best wearer of any mold. Obviously, the Fans Hobby one is a little bit iffy, not super huge fan on that one, but still carries the hype of the colors and everything. But nevertheless, him, I think he's the closest thing. I do love the Armada, Legacy Armada Megatron mold. I'm a pretty big fan of it. I really do like it. I didn't get the Galvatron. I didn't like the face sculpt that was on it. I just didn't. I just wasn't a fan of it. But nevertheless, I'm a huge fan of the mold. But other than that, nothing has really, even things like Sure Shot, Quick Strike, even them, like those toys, like toys that I should have absolutely loved. Like, I'm a huge fan of the original Quick Strike. I think that's why is that Quick Strike really just didn't feel better. Really just did not feel better than the original. Like, obviously he's bigger, he scales better, but he just really doesn't seem any more different. And that's, to me, the crux of the issue, at least for me. I'm not speaking for anyone else. When it comes to the Transformers now, is that it just seems so familiar. Like I was saying about the new up and coming, Jetfire, is that the original's amazing and it will always be. And I know I give toys a lot of flack when they don't respect what came before them, what design aspects, what transformation styles comes before them, and the engineers just almost throw it all out the window and think they know better than the people that came before them, or even the designs that they had that came before the ones that they're doing now. I just I like that aspect of design. I'll always go back to it. MP10 versus MP01, and then obviously the new MP. Oops. The new MPG Prime. He is in the exact same vein. I wish they did a little bit more with that MPG Prime. I know I don't own it. I know people say it's amazing, but once again, it's retreading almost the same ground as MP10. And when MP10 was retreading the same ground almost as MP01, but MP10 did so much with what MP01 laid for the groundworks. Like I said, I might have said it about HasLab Star Saber. is that it just feels too familiar. I don't think they're trying to push the boundaries um, as they have in the past. Like one of my favorite toys from Legacy, from not Legacy, from the War for Cybertron trilogy is well, my favorite is Warpath and Dinobot. Obviously, I love them because they're probably my top three characters. Um, but they they don't necessarily, well, those two toys don't really take aspects from their previous toys at all. Let me think about a better one. Cyclonus is a very good one. I kind of Cyclonus, as I've gotten, a little bit older, if you will, not really, but older in the sense of, I don't have a better word to describe it, is a very good example. I grew up with the not gift set, but the two pack with Cyclonus and the classic Cyclonus and the classic Cyclonus and classics Hot Rod with that silver diecast matrix and I think it's trying to figure this out really quick. This is kind of making me confused. Huh. And with Nightstick, I think his name is. I think Nightstick is Cyclonus's target master. I'm pretty sure. But nevertheless, I had that set when I was younger, and the hot rod has fallen apart, so I really need to get a new one, or at least the original, more maroon one. I really don't know how this goes together. Oh, no wonder. I was putting it on upside down. That would probably help a lot of things if I put it on the right side or the right way around. But I loved Cyclonus. Loved that toy. Loved the Hot Rod too, but I love the Cyclonus. Plus the fact that he didn't snap in half, which is typically notorious for that Hot Rod. But I loved that toy. Absolutely loved him. Almost did it again. I did do it again. Did I? Yeah, I did do it again. And the Kingdom one does its own thing, but it respects and uses design aspects of the original. Well, not original, but of the classic slash Henkei one. And I think that's incredible. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult to do with like Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Starscream, Megatron, because there's been a million of them done. But just when it comes to other toys, and they're just retreading the same ground and just replicating heavily what the original toys did, like that's not what this is about. At least in my opinion, and the view of the Transformers is that this isn't what it's supposed to be like. This is supposed to be reinventing, rethinking how these toys went together and how they were done and made and engineered and whatnot. So when they just retread the same ground, do the same things, it just becomes a little bit more boring to me. Like Sure Shot, I think I said Sure Shot. Sure Shot is a toy and a character that I really like, and I really love the G1 toy that I bought here this year. Love Sure Shot. But the new toy just didn't do anything for me. It didn't make me be like, hey, I want to buy that. Hey, that looks cool. I'm gonna, pre-order it. It didn't make me have that sort of feeling, um, and it just has that, you know, it just has that like boredom that's gotten into the toys, and that doesn't mean they're bad or that there's lack of creativity. Um, in the engineers' minds and the designers' minds, I highly, highly doubt that. I think they have ton, a ton of amazing ideas, crammed up inside their heads that they just really want to do. Um, but I think it's just the same people that have, is just the people that, my family, they say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And that's really what happens. The people that, you know, complain and moan, are the people that get attention from the designers, like, oh, we want this, oh, we want that, you know. And I understand that. I understand wanting to have your voice be heard, you know. Like, I am super excited for the Voyager Guzzle that is coming up. You guys should know, I love the Firecons, love the Sparkabots, absolutely adore those toys, adore them. Some of my favorite G1 toys ever, and that is a stretch. They're awful, and of all the other G1 toys that I could pick from, um, I just absolutely love them. They're just so fun and amazing and cool. Um, and I cannot wait for those toys. For that toy, like the really hope Boulder for the Rescue Bots is good. I really hope he doesn't suck like Heat Wave. I don't own Heat Wave, but Heat Wave was a huge disappointment, massive disappointment. Um, so disappointed in Hasbro with that one. I think they dropped the ball completely when they decided to use the freaking the bulkhead, the legacy bulkhead mold uh for him. I think they dropped the ball so hard. Like they didn't just drop it. They I don't even know. I don't even have an analogy um how badly they dropped it, but I really hope they do them really good. I'm so excited for the Studio Series Fort Max. So excited for a Studio Series Fort Max. I love IDW Fort Max. I love the Perfect Effects Warden. You can't see it, but I was pointing to his box. Um, easily one of my favorite IDW designs. I don't read IDW, but I just love his design in IDW. You guys should know, I'm a huge fan of the original toy. Like massive fan of the original toy. I think it's one of, if not the, probably one of the best toys ever made, in my opinion. Um, I think I cut out 6. Um, One of the best toys probably ever made, in my personal opinion. I think I'm putting this together right. I think. Um, and that's what I want to see. I want to see that, like, I want to see that in I wanted to see that in Legacy. I wanted to see characters like Guzzle, the Firecons, the Sparkabots. If they're gonna do G1, I wanted to see a ton of IDW, and they did do a decent bit of IDW for the most part with like Nova Prime and those like Amazon 2-packs, the multiple Megatron and Orion Pax ones. They did a ton of those, but um Sorry, I'm thinking. Um, but that's what I so badly want to see back is that just ingenuity, that just awesome, cool designs, those even just throwaway toys. Like I absolutely love that. Like that's where I live. Like once again, the fire cons, they're right up that alley of just throwaway toys. Um, but that's where some of the best toys in this entire franchise has come from is just those toys, those stupid throwaway toys that no one really cares about. But they're some of the best, like all the ones from the movies, um, and Studio Series like 84. I get it. I think I would be more excited and more welcoming to Studio Series 84 if I knew that they would like basically make a toy line for 84 and the G1 fans basically, and then make a toy line for the rest of everyone who wants that variety back. Um, I think that'd be a really cool, awesome idea. I don't know if that would be feasible, like with like budgetary constraints and whatnot. I highly doubt that it really is a feasible option to be able to do, but that would be a great opportunity. And Studio Series, in my opinion, until they release like a Hound, a Dragonstorm, like a DevCon, things like that, I would love to see them do a concept art Omega. You know how Omega Supreme was from the Dark of the Moon. He was a concept image. He wasn't in the movie. I would love if they did that. I would easily buy it, even if it was a deluxe. Easily would buy that. I would easily do that. Easily buy that toy. Um, but I think Studio Series has just, unless they meld in the movieverse toys into like Studio Series 84, like retreading same ground, making the most beautiful, perfect examples of these characters. Again, unless they do something like that, I think Studio Series has kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of over. Um, and they did a ton with it. I think it's gone on since 2018, 2017, 2018. I think. So they have got plenty out of Studio Series. Um, but I don't think it needs to stay alive for like Studio Series, like Gamer Edition, the like comic, like how the new Fort Max is gonna be, the IDW Fort Max is gonna be a Studio Series release. I don't think it needs to be that. Um, I also really want to see a new Fall of Cybertron, like Grimlock and the other toys. Like I would love to see a Slag, a Snarl, all the Dinobots. Love to see Bruticus. Um, but I just don't think Studio Series, not necessarily cuts it anymore, but just really has that much to do anymore. I know Studio Series sells crazy in Asia and all those places. I think I might be wrong about that, but um, need to be careful. Don't want to break this. No. I think that was something that I've heard people say like on YouTube and whatnot. But nevertheless, Studio Series, I don't know if it has much of a modern future um, within the toy line, within the franchise anymore. And I may very well could be wrong. Like they may have a whole roster of toys, like live action toys. They still have to make or whatever, but across the board, at least in my head, trying to remember, um, there's just not much else to do. Um, not very many other characters to do that haven't been done or ones that would sell. Um, so I really, really don't know um, about all that. Um, there is one arm done. And now, other arm. But I don't know about the Transformers. I don't know about the future. I'm gonna keep buying the toys I enjoy, the toys that I really like, um, or the toys that interest me. I'm just gonna. I love all the weird, wacky stuff, the oddball toys. Love all that. And that love will never ever go away. Um, it's just when Hasbro and Takara are ready. I don't, as much as I love Beast Wars the Second, I don't know if I'm gonna go in on the I don't know what it's called. It's like New Legends or something. I don't know what Takara is naming the lines anymore. I don't know if I'm gonna go in on their Galvatron, and I know it's very easy to get our hands on Takara toys now, like across the board. But I really don't want to go back to that whole exclusivity thing. Like Takara's making better decos than Hasbro. I know it was kind of fun back in the day. I really didn't do any of it because I was kind of too young to understand any of it or to really do any of it. Um, but I really don't want to go back to that. Like just seeing Takara and Japan having the better toys than everyone over here. Um, I really don't want to see that. I know all this and that about it, but I really just don't want to do that. In my opinion, I just want to be able to um, buy whatever, and I just like that collaboration between Takara and Hasbro. I just love seeing that relationship between companies. Um, no competition. I know friendly competition is a good thing. I completely understand that, but when your consumer is kind of paying for it when one company is producing a better deco than the other, that's um that's something that I just am not a huge fan of. And I know a lot of people probably aren't fans of it. And I'm not trying to be like a sore, loser or whatever, basically. But I just like seeing that collaboration between the companies. I don't like seeing the Takara and Hasbro go off on their own. I I don't know. That's just something like that I personally like, um, because there are probably a ton of companies um, that aren't as good as Hasbro and Takara as like communicating and working together um, with how they should handle their franchise and everything. I just like that relationship that they have. Like I think like during the Unicron trilogy, um, they made amazing, amazing toys. Um, you know, and it showed because they were working together, producing the shows. I think I'm pretty sure to my knowledge they produced the shows together for the most part. Um, but um, you know those shows and um those toys were able to come to fruition um because of that. I'm trying to figure out how this gun goes together. I'll try putting this side on first. I don't know. I'm just talking kind of stupid now with all that Hasbro Takara stuff, so I'm just gonna kind of drop that. Just yapping, and I don't like people who just yap. Not a fan. I do not get this. Because this arm goes to that slot. Yeah, I do not understand this. Are these tabs supposed to be cut off? No, they're still on it. I don't understand this freaking gun. I don't understand it. Don't get it. Whatever. Let's leave it, I guess, for right now. Move on to this thing. This claw thing. So. G5. G6. I got nothing else to talk about, so I'm just gonna build this, and if something comes into my head, I'll start talking about it. So that's what I'll do. There. There's one arm fully complete with the cloth thing. Don't know what it's called. And I feel like some of these things don't line up. Like some of these pieces and whatnot. Because it shows that this little teeny tiny little tab and that little hole line up with that teeny tiny little slot and that teeny tiny little peg, but they are like not even close to lining up. Like you can see those little pegs are running into the sides of the claws, not even near that little hole. So I have no clue if they're supposed to be that way or you cut them off. I really don't know because that's what's going on with this side with this big gun, because the tabs line up with the little slots, but the pegs don't line up where they're supposed to line up. And I don't understand anything about that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to cut them off because those pegs are in the way. These halves physically will not, go down, like close. So I don't know what to do. So I think with this side, I'm gonna just cut them off. I know that's probably horrifying for a ton of people, especially for the serious Gunpla people, but I want this thing to go together and to work. Oh, now it still doesn't want to go together. Why is that? Did I put these on wrong? Uh-oh. I think I put the wrong forearms together. Oops. I'm afraid that is what I have done. And now, I'm gonna pay for it. Because I was not at all paying attention. And I was. I was most definitely I was most definitely wrong. I knew I'd do it at some point, just didn't know I'd do it this badly. But here's one arm done, and now I can show you the super glue I also bought at Harbor Freight. This whole pack of super glue was $10. This entire pack was $10. Not $10. It's a 10 pack, and it was $2. So each of these little bottles or little things of super glue costed 50 cents a piece. Cost 50 cents a piece, which is insane. So now I have to carefully glue these teeny tiny little pegs back on. There. Which I don't think I'm gonna be able to do. So I'm just gonna quick move over to the desk, and I'll move you guys so you guys can see. There. So these are the teeny tiny little pegs that I cut off in my stupidity. Oh no. Well, I think this guy is going to be staying together for his entire life now. You can see all the super glue that's on the inside. I don't even have any kind of... Guess I'll just spread it around. give the pieces a nice gloss finish. That is really disappointing. I don't want to use my finger because it'll instantly stick to that. But I don't have anything to wipe it off with. I have absolutely nothing. Try this. I'll just let that dry, and then hopefully I can scrape it off with the knife when it's done. And I'll just leave that one for a second and not lose the teeny tiny little other piece. That really sucks that I was that stupid. That really is disappointing. But there's no crying over spilled milk, so let's just keep moving. So we can put this arm onto the body and see how it looks. And that is looking pretty cool. That's looking really, really cool. So now, while we wait, well, I guess we could at least put the shoulder and upper arm on. So, there you go. We're about halfway through, hour and 40 minutes, but that was been doing a lot of yapping. So now we can move on to the legs. So the legs probably shouldn't have anything like that to worry about. And we are done with runner F because the only thing that's on it is that open hand, and I'm not going to worry about the open hand. And I really do like these ones. They're not super heavy because they're, you know, like a third, not even a third, like a tenth of the width, and they're spring loaded. I don't know why these ones aren't. But I really like that these ones, the cheapest ones are spring, like have this spring in it. Makes it really convenient. Obviously, it's not perfect, and we are almost done with Runner G. And I know that the only things that are left are the head crests. So I'll put it here off to the side so we don't have to worry about it. So now we're starting onto the feet. And the feet and the legs should go pretty quickly. It looks like there's a ton, like a lot of pieces, but it shouldn't be too terrible given that they're legs. Then the waist should be incredibly easy for probably the most part. So knock those 4 pieces out. D. super duper simple. One little bit of a foot, then this other little bit of a foot. Like I said, I think after this, I'll just go around and clean up the nub marks, because I think these ones aren't as good as like flush cutting as the bigger ones, but these ones are just way nicer to use. We'll just keep using these big fat ones. And either way, these things, these huge ones, cost me $35. And a good set of God hands, I think, are like 60 or 70, which is insane. Obviously, the God hands are probably still like insanely better than this. Like, could probably still better, like, clean up the nub marks, still 100 times easier and better, but still have to mention it. Polycap 4. Okay, now we can put all this stuff together. freaking go in? And this. There, you can really see how many nub barks are all over the feet. But like I said, I'll get them all cleaned up when I just have it together. Get it all nice and sanded so the Banshee can look nice and beautiful. So there are the 2 feet. Now onto the legs. There. Then polycaps. Dang it. There. Use my brain. Polycap 13. So these go together like so. Then this will go in like that. this. We'll go in here. Not that. Like that. Hoses on the outside. Then this guy. Go like that. And there. Little piece done. Same thing over here. There are the legs. C22. C22 again. And A36. And this goes like that. All that teeny tiny little piece does is add the tiniest little bit of color separation. I appreciate it, but that's I don't know. I kind of like it, but on such a small model kit with such teeny tiny little pieces, it's okay. And then apparently it gets some stickers, but I'm not gonna worry about the stickers. Just gonna leave it the way it is, at least for right now. If it looks better with the stickers or it looks worse without the stickers, then I can go back and add them, but I'm not gonna do them right now. And I might just do that just by myself without videoing it or streaming it or whatever. So the same thing happens. It's the same eensy weensy, teeny tiny little pieces for color separation. Three. 8. That should go in, but I don't know why it isn't. Same thing here. Now, E6 and 4. Now, C 26 and 27. Okay. Duh. Okay. Now these go on the sides. So that is pretty neat how that leg goes together. I'll put this one together and I'll show you how this leg gets built up. So put this on first. So with the top, it's pretty self-explanatory. You line that peg up with the hole so the knee will work and everything. Or I assume, yeah, the knee will work and whatnot. Yeah, so the knee will work. So that's pretty self-explanatory. But this orange fin, and there's this teeny tiny little peg right there. You might there, and it'll line up with that teeny tiny little hole like that, and then this other side piece comes in to lock it all together, and that's super neat. That's a really neat way of doing that. I think that's really cool to form the leg. Really like that. And then it'll get armor pieces here along the edges. Really like that. That's really cool. D. These little thrusters. Yeah, go on the bottom peg. Like that. C15. That one is pretty obvious. Go back to the smaller ones now. These pretty self-explanatory as well. Yeah, they go on this side of the leg, like so. Love how that little bit of orange just barely peeks out from the, I think it's the Psycho frame. I think that's what the orange on this one and the red, or the multicolors on the regular unicorn is called. I think it's called a Psycho frame. Pretty sure, but I might be wrong. Oops, wrong side. Helps if I did it on the right side. So their legs are pretty built up. C28. C28. And now E3. There. Now A35 is going to be a tiny part careful now with these teeny tiny little pieces. So E3 goes like this. These pieces go like that. These teeny eensy weensy little pieces. Looks like they are identical. This. Like that. This. Just carefully goes in a teeny tiny little gray piece. It's its own separate thing. And I'm just going to cut out the other ones. I know it's not part of this step yet, but I'm just going to cut them out now. Cut one at a time. Put it in. Like that. Use the grip to push it all the way in. Do the same thing over here on this side. Just let that fall. Put that teeny tiny little piece in. There they are. Teeny tiny little gray pieces. C14 and B34. I think we're nearing the end because the C runner is almost complete. Both of them are almost complete. So we are getting very close to the end of finishing this guy. B34. Because the waist and everything should be pretty with all the big pieces that you can see. those on. Yes. This, I got really lucky because see how this little piece is angled? It's also lightly molded into that gold piece. You can see that light angle. Got very lucky with building these together and not separate. Very lucky with that part. So now, once again, some teeny tiny little pieces left or up and coming. Getting to some movable armor, like foot guard pieces. Like these itty bitty, well, they're not too small, those little pieces. Pretty sure that's the number that I need, D8, yes. But still, they're not anything compared to the ones that were in the real grade Wing Zero and real grade RX 78-2 2.0. And I have been thinking about seeing how much the real grade Patlabor kit is, because I haven't seen the Patlabor anime, but I love the designs of the mechs or whatever they're called. I love the designs. I would really like to watch Patlabor, at least the show. B36. Really like to watch the show. Now, these are angled well. And they get the same. Yeah. So same thing there. This little piece I just put on follows the angle of that top piece that I got super lucky with putting on. Just to add that Psycho Frame line. So there, I think, are the lower legs done. Those were really neat and fun to build. Really neat. Very interesting on how they built up. So now these be really simple. If I can find where they were built. Oh, there they are. 27. I do like that these big upper leg or thigh pieces are all one big piece. Obviously, he probably won't have a ton of probably won't even get a thigh swivel if I will assume anything. But I do really like that they're these big just pieces and they're not a ton of little pieces. Well, it's going to get a little piece for the Psycho Frame. But I just like how big those pieces are. And cut these pieces out now because I know I'll need them. Now, that's what I thought. And these are the teeny tiny little pieces that will show off the Psycho frame. They just go in like that. Standard poly cap for the hips. These are very, very self-explanatory. Don't want to put that on without a poly cap in there. And there's that. That's really neat. So the piece that makes the Psycho frame color goes in like that. And obviously the poly cap goes in for the hip joint. And then this teeny tiny little piece goes on like that. That's really cool. Or as cool as something that basic and simple can be. B29. Another polycap 9. round side faces away from the round, the pointy. Now this will go together. So I need this side. Really like how they've done, like how the Psycho frame is done, because like this, oops, wrong way around, because it'll just peg in, and now it just reveals that Psycho frame all the way around. I think that's really cool. Then each upper leg with the respected lower leg, and a foot with whatever leg. So there is a leg all done. Now complete another leg. Like so. There's 2 legs, and now should be along into the waist. The waist is the final thing other than the head. Just looking at all the other model kits down here, or the models. So like I said, the waist is going to be super, super simple. They typically are on most model kits, even the 2 master grades that I have. Just really super duper simple, not too hard to figure out. But we are going to reference the instructions because I don't want to, you know, look like an idiot and make it go on for another 30 minutes to an hour when this is going to take me not super too terribly long, or it shouldn't. At least. This one. There's more. There they are. So thrusters go on. So gold pieces. And I need another piece for this, I think. No. Those go in like that. I do like that these are not articulated, because I know on one of my high grade RX-78-2 kits, the high grade even, that they swivel, and I really don't like that. I just don't like putting them on They're just really fussy and finicky. But these, they just peg on like that. Nice, simple, not trying to do anything extreme or anything. Just work. Just go on. These will go over it. I think. I think that's all the further it goes in. And I just gotta wiggle it in. And this side. Then this can go over the waist piece and lock the poly caps in. And the front skirt, super simple. And I am going to split the hip guard, the front hip skirts, because even though I leave nub marks all over, I am not going to leave that undone. Just clean these up a little bit. E27. E21. There. There. Now back to B. And 13, 12. So there we are approaching the end. So this there, this little piece goes, yeah, there. Don't like how that doesn't want to really go on or in. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go on. I don't know. Then these. Yeah, like so. skirts in this piece first. And now, oh, dang it. This is one thing I really don't like is that almost every kit that I have, just the skirts just don't work. I don't know why. Like these, not too bad, but it's just not perfect. I'm not the biggest fan of the way they always attach the skirts. I wish it was a little bit better, a little bit more solid, and everything just seems like they're a little bit lacking almost. Oh, I forgot some pieces. That's B17. Oh, A17, definitely. A4. Where did I get A17? Cut these out now. Let's cut both of them out. There. Got that. Now I'm gonna try to get this other one in. And that adds a tiny little thruster right there. So skirts are all done. Just need the waist piece or this hip piece. Oh, I still need the side skirts. I'm gonna put these on first, the legs on first. And now this goes in that little poly cap on the bottom. There is the waist and legs. I just still those skirts just wanna get loose and fall off, even though they're really not because they're somewhat captive in there. But I don't know. A29. This piece. E20. Almost done with E. Just a couple of little things. This goes on, and that just sits there. It doesn't even actually like slip on. And now the side skirt pieces. 6. Then C18. I think C is also about to be done. Just a couple small little pieces. Both C's. And these will go together. These should be really, really simple. And they sure are. There are little skirts. Quick throw them on. Side skirts. There they are. So before I continue onto the head and the shield, I'm not going to do the beam rifle. I'm going to quick super glue the other teeny tiny little peg on. So we can hopefully get that claw thing, we can get that built. So to show that off, this time gonna be a lot more gentle with the super glue there. Only got a dot this time, not enormous like glob. Why it's sticky. Dang. Really, really frustrating. Super frustrating. Now it's stuck to my finger. Dang it. Ugh. This is freaking stupid. I blame freaking Bandai for this. Should have just made the sides identical. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Sorry. Come in, yes?
Never mind.
I'm